Good morning, YouTube. So today we are going to be doing a lot in this vlog. I have timestamped everything down below. We're going to do some first impressions of shoes. I'm going to bring you to my squat workout. We have some pretty big squats today, so we'll see how she goes. And I also want to talk about my training as I prep for this 555 challenge. And I have some good news to also share with y'all. But I'm going to slam some breakfast. We're doing 3 eggs, a bunch of tomatoes, peppers, a big bowl of oatmeal, and then some grilled chicken. But I will see you guys in T-minus 2 minutes. Also, I don't know if anybody else does this, but I like to mix my oatmeal with all of my eggs. So basically like I'll scramble up everything. These eggs have like cheese, veggies in them. Throw them all into my bowl of oatmeal, and then I will top it with hot sauce, or what I've been digging right now is this honey bear barbecue sauce. A bit more sugar in this than I would prefer. However, like with the training and how much I'm running and stuff, like honestly, I probably need the calories. I'm not even tracking my calories right now. I'm just trying to consume enough to not lose weight or my strength. So this is the breakfast. She's a nice big bowl of mess, and we are gonna devour this and then head to the park with the dog. Come on, big boy. So before we go hit the gym today, I do want to take him to the park. I promised him yesterday we would go this morning. Plus, I was up to like 1 writing yesterday. I wrote like 7,000 words in total, and like my brain is just like, it's fried. Like this is not a flex of like, oh, I work so much. No, it was just like a, hey, I'm human and I'm a little bit burnt out. So I'm kind of taking the morning slow. Take him to the park. We're gonna stop at GNC, get some Noon tabs because I've been really digging those for hydration. They're way cheaper than Pedialytes, and this is not a plug for Noon by any means, so do not think I'm trying to sell you shit. But him to the park, GNC, and then we are getting to the gym. We have some beefy squats. Man, I am like, in my head, I'm like, oh man, today's gonna be an interesting day with squats, but we got it. Go. Come on. Up. Maui. Through. Good boy. One more. Through. Good boy. One more. Through. Good boy. So before I got under the bar today, I did 2 different exercises for my warm-up. The first was spending a little bit of time giving my peroneals and tib anterior a little bit of love with some soft tissue work. So as you can see here, I'm focusing on areas where I feel the most tender, and then I'm moving my ankle through plantar, dorsey for 3 reps. If you are using a foam roller for hitting the quad, IT band, whatever it might be in your warm-up, focus on doing this where you find like that more sensitive area, and then move your joint through full range of motion. So if you're hitting quad, then you would go through knee extension, knee flexion, etc. From there, I slapped on my weightlifting shoes to start acclimating to having that heel wedge with my squat patterning, and then I did some walking lunges to be a bit more dynamic in nature and bias them with an internal rotation bias. So I generally lack a little bit of IR like most folks with their squat patterning, so spending a little bit of extra time and giving myself some attention there helps kind of grease the groove and prep me for my squats. From here, I went and got under the bar. So watch my squats as I warm up. They will continually get better. And that's something that I think is really important to be cognizant of a lifter, because I think at times lifters can get in their heads and like, oh, like this warm up felt weird, or I didn't move correctly or perfectly for this like lighter set. You will get, I think, better mechanics as you acclimate and as you kind of grease that groove, quote unquote. So if you watch my sets here, I play with a bunch of different tempos and I get better as I go. After I took 1 plate, I put on my knee sleeves because from here, I know I'm getting a bit heavier at a pretty fast and aggressive rate because we have 12 singles planned today. So I put on my knee sleeves right after my 185-pound set. I actually forgot to film that, so please don't get mad at me for that. I did a bar weight, 135, 185, took 185 for a set of 5 and a set of 2, slowed that down 2 to focus on the overall tempo of it and my loading patterns, and then I put on my knee sleeves and then tightened up my weightlifting shoes. From here, I take 2 plates for a few reps. The goal here is to start to build that kind of confidence with the weight on my back. These still felt a little bit weird, not gonna lie, but I know that it's been a while since I've started to squat a bit heavier, especially with the barbell squat that I'm going to be using for tackling the 500-pound feet. So I know it's going to take time to acclimate. After doing 225 for a couple of sets and 275, we got into the singles. So our first single was 315. This weight felt really good on my back. It moved pretty damn smooth. And we took 315 for a second single, and equally that felt a little bit better, but also I was a tad bit forward. So heading into these 325s, I was really focusing on not falling forward or pitching forward nearly as much. And as you can see, as mentioned earlier, my patterning starts to get better. As weight gets heavier, my patterning gets better. This is because our body is sequencing to accommodate for the task at hand. Do not get in your head and be like, oh, my first warm-up set wasn't great, because I guarantee you, once you start getting going and once your body starts acclimating, your movement patterns will start to get better. We had 3 singles at 385, which was a good test because it kind of helped me feel heavier weight. I actually haven't squatted this weight for probably a month or so now because we've been focused more on a hypertrophy phase. And then we got into the fun work, which was 405 for 3 singles. So overall, I was very happy with these singles. Could they be a little bit faster? Sure. Could I have had a slightly less forward pitch? Maybe. But overall, I was very happy with these singles and how they moved and how they felt. For not squatting this weight in well over 2 months, super stoked on the overall movement mechanics with this load, and I'm super excited to get back into the 400s as we progress on with our training. All right, we made it through the squats. We had 12 singles bunched into 3s. So do 1 rep, rest 60, do 2 reps, rest 60 again, did the 3rd rep, rest 3 to 4 minutes, and then we get into the next batch of triples. Now we have accessory work. So we have leg extensions, hamstring curls, we have seated adduction, and then omnirectus curls. Let's get into it. Beautiful, beautiful pump work. Thank God, because I was like, if there's a leg press in here, I think I might die. So for my accessory work lately, the name of the game has been hypertrophy and keeping it simple. So since I'm starting to run more, we are still trying to build muscle and also maintain what I have. So by keeping it simple, it allows me to focus my full energy and efforts into my compound lifts, but then give what I have left to really focusing on the areas we are trying to build up. So for example, the leg extension and hamstring curls you're going to see in this video, I actually did 7 sets of those, and we manipulated those sets throughout with different tempos and different ways of executing the reps. And the reasoning being is that they're going to give me a ton of bang for my buck when it comes to quad and hamstring hypertrophy, and I can isolate them and mitigate the overall fatigue that they are creating. So I didn't feature every single accessory today. To be quite honest, I forgot to film a bunch of them. I'm really sorry. I'm the worst fitness YouTube person ever. But that all being said, accessories today were simple and awesome. So quick tip, if you're working on a machine like this, that is more of a free weight, hybrid with the machine, something you could do to actually increase and improve the resistance profile of this is add a band. So in the hamstring curl, we're adding that band over here. So when we contract, we're pulling against that band, and then we can work against the band throughout that eccentric or lengthening movement pattern. And then for the extension, what we do, so quad extension, leg extension, we will put the band back here, attach it to the leg, and that way we'll have more force going through the concentric when we extend, so we'll have a little bit more resistance, and then we could fight to resist that band on the way down and get a little bit more out of the eccentric loading pattern. Because with how this swings, we're not really going to get the best resistance, especially if we didn't use a band for a leg extension. We're going to kick up, yeah, going against resistance, but then up here it's just kind of chilling, and we lose out on some of the tension that could be pulling where the legs are going to be trying to resist from. So food for thought, if you have one of these machines, you can add a band and make it a hell of a lot better. So I also wanted to do a quick physique update because as I progress on this 555 path, I'm really interested to see how my physique changes. But that all being said, I've actually put on a good 2 pounds in the last 2 to 3 weeks, especially as I've been running more because I have been so hungry. I have been eating a ton more. So right now we are sitting around 185-ish, 6 foot, and I'm feeling really good right now, honestly. I'm maintaining a lot of the muscle I have, so I'm overall very happy with my physique at the moment. So I don't know if anybody on my channel is interested in trucks or cars, so let me know in the comments if you think this is a good idea. So I was thinking about making a series dedicated to making my Tacoma the ultimate gym truck. So the goal is to get a lift on it, small lift, not too much of a lift because I don't want to pass into redneck territory, bigger tires. And then I was thinking about putting a little rack over it, obviously putting a tent on it for overlanding, and then I was going to get a custom holder for a barbell, and then I would make shelving units in here for plates, kettlebells, and dumbbells. So I have an idea of doing a traveling trainer series where I could drive around the country, potentially link up with anybody who's watching this who lives in the US and wants to have any training sessions or train with me, and work with other athletes and coaches I know. So let me know if that would be a series that you'd be interested in. It would not be the whole channel by any means, just a video maybe once a month, because your man doesn't have the kind of funds to mod out his truck entirely yet. So let me know in the comments if that would be something you'd be interested in. Before we dive into the Flux Footwear first impressions for the Adapt Trainer, we have a little grocery haul. I'm gonna show you a couple staples that I eat on a regular basis, like every single week. We'll talk more in depth on nutrition with the 555 challenge as we get closer to the feet. And like I want to actually have like an episode planned and not just like do this sporadically. So a couple staples include Greek yogurt, huge fan of Greek yogurt. Mix a little fruit in here, some cinnamon, awesome. Vans yogurt, Vans waffles. These are fantastic. If you're sleeping on the Vans, you are missing out. We have turkey thighs, ground turkey breast, and steak. Chicken thighs, turkey breast, some fish, some steak here. Tons of different veggies. So we have peppers, eggplants, cauliflowers, onions, some greens that Nikki will probably eat and I will just let go bad. Sourdough bread, which Nikki's a big fan of but has turned me on to.
Also bananas and potatoes.
Some raviolis, which are one of my faves.
These ones are Jake's, these ones are mine.
Eggos, some broccoli florets for omelets and whatnot. We have some
that's mine.
Dairy-free gross cheese, turkey chili, almond milk, egg whites, rice, lots of more rice, grape tomatoes, and then we have some beans and some other ingredients for chili this week. Overall, this is pretty consistent with what I'll eat on a normal basis. Obviously, there's different foods that I'll implement in here, but these are like the core staples of my diet right now. All right, so I have had a few asks on the channel about the Flux Footwear Adapt Trainer, and I finally have gotten a pair, tested them for 3 weeks, and have some thoughts on this model. I actually have a written review up on my site, ThatFitFriend, if you want to check that out. It's more of like an in-depth synopsis of this shoe. I plan to put together a video review in the next week. I've just like bandwidth is a little bit limited at the moment, especially with all the other content I have planned. But 4 first impressions with this model is, number one, if I had to like put this shoe into a category when it comes like training, daily wear, etc., I would put it as like kind of like an all-in-one style of shoe that kind of serves as a hybrid between a barefoot shoe and a more traditional like tennis or training shoe that has a slightly thicker midsole. The shoe has a 0 drop, so a 0mm heel to toe drop, and a 10mm stack height in regard to its sole height. So as a whole, I feel like this model does like an interesting job at giving you like almost like a barefoot feel, but providing you with some cushion to kind of like acclimate you to that style of footwear. So honestly, this could be a good pair of shoes for anybody who does want to get more into barefoot shoes, and currently they wear thicker shoes, so they want to acclimate slowly and feel what it's like to have a 0 drop and a little bit of cushion under the feet. My second first impression with this model is that I do like it for daily wear most. So the shoe, I talked to Flux Footwear, is like intended to be like your 80% shoe. You can kind of wear it for a little bit of everything, but it's not going to be so focused on one activity to where it's going to be like your best shoe for CrossFit, your best shoe for lifting, etc. So that being said, as a daily driver, like this model is very comfortable. You get a lot of responsiveness from the ground with it. The sole is super comfortable, and if you're not really beating the crap out of them, I think they'll last a while. So as a daily driver and a comfortable shoe, this model I think does a really good job. Plus the overall aesthetic is pretty clean and low key. So across the board, decent daily driving model. My third first impression is that I actually am curious to see how the sole construction lasts in regard to overall durability. So as you can see, like we don't have an insole in this model. We have the Adapt sole, which has some stitching exposed here throughout because we don't have that insole covering the sole of the shoe. And I'm really curious to see how the durability of this model lasts when wearing it for longer periods of time, training in them, etc., especially with this exposed stitching. Right now I haven't had any durability issues, but I could see if you're training with this in like the context of digging into the ground, doing lateral work and whatnot, anything that you're basically putting a ton of stress into the upper portion, like really leaning into that upper. I'm really curious to see how this shoe stands up to the test of time. My fourth first impression with this model is that if you are thinking about getting it, I would just say be conscious of the fact that Flux Footwear is a newer company. I believe this is actually their first year on the market. I know they have other models coming in the years following. So that being said, with first models, like there are always areas to improve on. Like, is this shoe perfect? No. Is it interesting? Yes. Are there times and place where I really like this model? Yes. Is it going to be my model for lifting heavy, tackling CrossFit workouts, taking on serious training? No. So with all that being said, I think if you look into this model and if you decide to grab a pair, just note that hopefully as Flux Footwear evolves as a company and as this product grows and gets more popular, that hopefully it will evolve just like with like the Nike Metcon line, like how we have literally 7 now. We have 7 iterations that they've now built on and like taken feedback and then remade their models. So what I'm basically trying to say is that if you invest in this model, I would not expect it to be like the next best thing where it fixes everything and like you can wear it for everything and it's going to excel to the highest degree. So just understanding that it is like kind of that 80% shoe. It's going to probably improve as Flux Footwear grows, and I just want to make sure that I mitigate any expectations with this model if you are thinking about investing in them. But overall, I have enjoyed them. I will have a video review coming next week, so stay tuned for that. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap this video up. I have so much to get done on my computer that I need to like get my head down and do some work. If you have any thoughts on this video, hit me in the comments below. I know a lot of my folks who come to the channel don't necessarily come for vlogs or to see like the progressions to the 555 series. So if that is you, totally fine. Just skip over these videos. Drop them a like, it helps a lot. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this one. The next episode I plan to tackle is, you know what, I actually don't want to give it shape. I just want to have it free flow and actually have a bit of like a creative angle that I could take the day of and figure out what's going to be interesting. But if you have any thoughts on what you would like to see in regard to this series, also drop suggestions down below. I love seeing suggestions. They help direct content and the flow and feel of what you would want to see. But I will see you guys in the next one. Drop, subscribe to the channel. Peace.